Hi, and welcome back to our Squad Leader tutorial series. Recently, we have been dealing with various aspects of vehicle movement in combat. Several of our viewers have requested a tape on heights and blind hexes. I know it is an important and sometimes confusing aspect of the game. I recently played at Albany in the New York State ASL Championships, and it came up in all the scenarios that I played in. I hope this video answers some of the questions. First, let's define half-level line of sight obstruction. Those are usually hedges and walls. They are an obstruction to any same level line of sight. In essence, the unit can see into the hex but not past that hex. That is shown by the black markers located and the boxes seen. They represent the blind hexes to the American squad with the medium machine gun. Now, if we take that 6.67 and medium machine gun and put it on the first level of the building, then all those blind hexes are now seeable. So in review, a half-level line of sight obstruction has no effect on line of sights from higher elevations. Now, let's put the 6.67 into the second level of the multi-hex building with a staircase. The staircase being there shows that this building has a 0, first, and second level. The Americans are on the second level. Let's place a one-level house right next to the squad on the second level of the building. Now, the first thing you'll see is that the black box appears behind the house. No matter how high the viewing unit is, or how close it is to the full level line of sight obstruction, there's always at least one blind hex. At a range of 1 to 4 hexes, there's always one blind hex behind the house. So whether the house is 2, 3, or 4 hexes away, from the single blind hex is always present from the second story of the building. At a range of 5 to 9 hexes, there is a second blind hex behind the first level line of sight obstruction. From 10 to 14 hexes, there's a third blind hex. In essence, for every multiple of 5 hexes, fractions rounded down between the obstruction and the viewing unit, add an additional blind hex. Now, for every level above 1 greater the viewing unit is above the obstruction, you remove one blind hex. So using our example of the Americans in the second story of this building, if the building itself was on a level 1 hill, then the Americans would be at level 3. Level 3 is 2 levels higher than the obstruction. So, at a range of 1 to 9 hexes, you would start at 2 blind hexes, but then you would remove 1. So in essence, if the viewing unit is 2 levels higher than the obstruction in question, then there would only be 1 blind hex for the first 9 hexes. If the small house shown was actually a 2-hex house containing a 0 on first level, what would the difference be? The house would have a height of 1.5 levels. There would be no difference in the blind hexes created by that house. Remember that a half-level line of sight obstruction does not affect line of sight from a higher elevation. Now the reverse is true as well. For every level greater than 1 that is blind to the elevated hex, add a blind hex. So, if the Americans were on a third level, and the house was a full 2-story house, then there would be 2 blind hexes for the first 4 hexes, then 3 blind hexes at a range of 5 to 9 hexes, and 4 blind hexes from a range of 10 to 14, and so on. Okay. Finally, let's look at crest lines from higher elevations. They work differently than houses and trees do, etc. In order for a crest line to create a blind hex to a lower elevation, the viewing unit at the higher elevation has to be at least 5 hexes away from the crest line. In this picture, the black box is the blind spot. The hex in which the crest line is only 4 hexes away from the second level unit does not create a blind hex, which is why there is no black box there. This concludes heights and blind hexes in Advanced Squad Leader. While I hope you enjoyed this video, please realize it is just an introduction to help you dive in and have some fun playing this great game. The best way to learn this game is to keep playing and don't worry about making mistakes. Perhaps learn from a more experienced player or attend one of the many tournaments across the country, like the Nor'easter in Boxborough, Massachusetts, and the New York State ASL Championships in Albany, New York. If you liked this video and found it useful, please like us on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. If you have any thoughts, questions, or suggestions, feel free to contact us at jdhobbies@live.com. And like always, thanks for watching.